My name is Todd Kanizik. I'm the Executive Director of Art Services Initiative of Western New York. Thank you for coming. This event is part of our ongoing professional development training series. Over the course of a year, we do between 10 and 15 of these for both cultural organizations and individual artists, and some joint sessions. I also want to remind everyone that we do one-on-one consultations as well. So if your organization is in need of anything around your budget, around governance, board development, those sorts of issues, just email me at Todd, but it's T-O-D, at ASINWNY.org, and we can set up a time to come in and do that. Our next session in the series is a big one on August 7th at 6 p.m. at 500 Seneca in the atrium there. So in the shadow of Shasti O'Leary Sedan's big piece of public art, we're going to be releasing Arts and Economic Prosperity 5, which is an economic impact report that quantifies the impact of not-for-profit cultural organizations and their audiences in Erie, Niagara, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny counties. And we're bringing in Americans for the Arts Director of Research, Randy Cohen, who spearheaded the national report that this is part of. So thanks to all of you who led us into your organizations to do audience surveys, who provided your organizational data. This report is really important, and it's going to be the cornerstone of all of our education and advocacy work for the next 3 to 5 years as we work on increased arts funding, increased presence of the arts in other sectors. So please join us for that if you can, and if not, we'll be recording that as we do all of our sessions. This, as that will be, and all of our other things are free and open to the public, thanks to the New York State Council on the Arts, Fund for the Arts in Erie County. So I always make sure we recognize our sponsors. They help many of you as well. So with that, just another reminder to get on our newsletter if you're not. Check us out on Facebook, give us a like. I have younger staff than me, so they just launched an Instagram account today, and I'll figure out how to use that eventually. But please, check us out in all the various and assorted ways that one may check out an organization like ours. So with that, we get to today's session. And, as we think about member services, subscribers, patrons, and how to serve those folks and serve them more meaningfully and better, while on tight budgets, while acknowledging that our member services director may also be our development director, may also be taking out the trash at the end of the night in a lot of nonprofits and cultural organizations. We really believe in peer learning, and a lot of times when we would do a session like this, we would think about, a few culturals that do this well. Let's bring them up and talk to you about how they do it. But then we kind of got to thinking, well, who else is out there who serves members or subscribers or season ticket holders? And how do they do it? And then, is there a way to translate what they're doing into what we do? And so this is a session in 2 parts today. The first is we're going to hear from Leadership Buffalo, and we're going to hear from the Buffalo Bills about how they do these sorts of things. Now, I've asked them to think about the things that don't cost a lot of money, the things that are both the philosophy of their customer service as well as some of the specific things that they do. The second part then is going to be a discussion with all of you, and not just a Q&A, of what you're thinking. So as you've heard this, if I'm running a theater, how might this translate? So hopefully we'll get a little bit of a dialogue going as well, so we can then get to learning from each other. Those are the 2 parts, and my part is done with the introduction. So with that, I'll introduce Leadership Buffalo's President and CEO, Althea Luehrsen, and I'll say I'm actually very glad to have these 2 folks with us today. I am a season ticket holder with the Buffalo Bills, and both Matt and I are LB graduates, so it's Buffalo, what can you say? With that, Althea.
Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I can see all of you. Oh, I see a poll right in front of me. We've been in this room before, so I know the challenges. But thank you so much for asking us, and really appreciate especially the topic. Before we begin, can I ask if anybody is a Leadership Buffalo grad that I just haven't met yet? Oh, what year?
Rising Leaders Class of 2005.
Oh, you're one of the first ones?
Yeah.
Well, hello, I'll meet you in a second. And if we could just go around there, maybe we'll start with you, and just tell me what your name is and what organization you represent.
I'm Robert Rushnick with Shake Performing Arts Center.
Oh, you work with Michael Murphy's in one of my classes, and John Shaler is this year as well, so welcome. Blue?
I'm Michael Pelly, and I work at Theater of Youth.
Great, we've been there too.
I'm Angela Goldberg, and I work at the Buffalo Philharmonic Chorus.
We've been there too. Yes.
I'm Holly Schreiber, I'm from Pendixie.
From where?
Pendixie, Buffalo Park.
Oh, and we do have a grad who's involved with that.
I believe our executive director.
Yes.
Yes, he
Yes.
couldn't be here tonight.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
Erica Schrader from Old Fort Niagara.
Well, that one we haven't been to, but we've probably been there with Leadership
Leadership
Niagara.
Niagara.
A little too far for us, yeah.
I'm Greg Hennessy with the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame.
Wow, wonderful.
Marissa Caruso with Torrance Space.
Yeah, we've been there, I've met you, yes.
Mary Simpson, I'm working with West Side Run Club.
Oh, that's right, I passed, that's the one over by the launch club or the.
Yes.
Yes, great.
I'm Roderick Kexon. I'm one of the board members for ASI, and I also work with Robert at Chase.
Wonderful, nice to meet you.
I'm Patty Casino. I'm out of Leadership Genesee.
Oh, yeah, Peggy Marone's a great friend,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. I'm a brand new member of the Go Art board, and if I could tell you the whole thing, I know it's Genesee, Orleans, help me.
Regional Arts Council.
There we are. That's
There you go.
exactly what it is.
They gotta have an acronym somewhere for that, right?
I understand Go Art.
I'm Gregory. I'm also from the Genesee Orleans Regional Arts Council.
Gotcha,
I'm Brad. I'm also with Go Art.
okay.
I'm Lev. I'm interning with ASI for the summer.
Oh, great, welcome.
I'm Susan Schwartz. I'm with the Buffalo Philharmonic.
Nice to meet you. And then the three of you are with Matt, Jack's colleagues, right?
Danielle Gaddis from the Buffalo Bills.
Haley Clark, Buffalo Bills.
Zach Richards, Buffalo Bills.
Great. And last,
Mark Banaszak, Financial Associate with ASI.
wonderful, nice to meet all of you, so thank you for having us. So who knows anything about Leadership Buffalo? Okay, well, good to know. So I'm just going to give you a real quick overview because I want to take more time with the audience engagement and membership engagement. Leadership Buffalo is a nonprofit. We're in our 30th year. We strive to make Buffalo better. How we strive to do that is really by taking people from all walks of life, whether they're from high school students to senior executives, and really showing them everything Buffalo, good, bad, and the ugly. We're from the city is our classroom. We're in every corner of this community. Like I said, the good, bad, and the ugly. There's not a building or a space I haven't been in. And really to open people's eyes, open people's minds, break down biases and stereotypes to really get them to understand that Buffalo is one big community and it's our responsibility to give everyone that opportunity to experience the renaissance that we're having. We're trying to basically get the haves and the have-nots and take these two sides and get them a little closer together. And it's working. We feel like we're really part of the renaissance of Buffalo. We feel that we have a lot to do with the positivity we're experiencing right now as a community. Not by ourselves, but we're part of it. And we have 5 different programs, soon to be 6. Our core program, our signature program is called our Class Experience, which is what, were you in Rising Leaders? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Todd was one of the Class Experience. And then we have a Rising Leaders program, which are identical programs. They're just different demographics as far as age groups and positions in your career and where you are in your career life.
Did you just call me old?
No, because I'm older than you and I went through this. I'm also a Leadership Buffalo grad in 2010. We also have a youth program for high school students, for sophomores, juniors, and seniors to really get them to understand the value of community service, get them to know their city, get them to appreciate what we have here, and teach them a lot of professional development skills. We have an Experience Buffalo program, which is for recently relocated executives that moved to Buffalo. So we showed them very quickly that we're more than snow and chicken wings. Marisa Wigglesworth, who is the CEO of the Museum of Science, her and her husband are part of that program this year, along with Michael Murphy from the Shays and many others. And we have them with their significant other spouse partner go through the program so that they, as a couple, can learn about Buffalo and then hopefully want to stay here, and if they do end up being relocated again, that they'll take the positive vibe of Buffalo with them. And then we have alumni programs, which I'll talk to you about in a second, and we're launching a 5th, 6th program, I guess what you would call it, next year, and it's going to be, this is not the official name, Leadership Basics, and this program is going to be for the folks in your companies and organizations that maybe are admin, secretaries, account clerks, people that are never going to be in the position to go through the full program that costs a couple $1,000s each. is we're going to build cohorts within companies. So we're going to pilot it with a couple companies next year, and it's going to be 6 half days a year throughout the year. 3 of them will be inside the company. We'll be giving them poverty simulations, diversity, cultural training, personality assessments, and then we'll also have bus tours, and we'll go out and immerse them into a part of the community, whether it's the East Side and come see your theater, or the Lower West Side and go see the Philharmonic, and just taking them places to get them to understand that, for example, the foreign-born population is an amazing population, and they're very educated and welcome here, and they're not here illegally. That Muslim is a race, it's a religion, it's not a race, and it's a very peaceful one. So all the things that we teach our folks to know, to really make sure that we can get the community working better together. So that's what we do. In addition to those programs, which all take up an evening, a half day, a full day, we also did 19 events last year. So that's what I'll talk to you about. I have a huge staff of 6 people. I'm one of the 6. 4 of them are full-time and 2 are very part-time. So I have an amazing staff of people. So I think one of the things that you need to do if you're going to engage your members or engage your audience is make sure you have the right people on the bus in your organizations, because you can't do this with slackers. You have to have really talented people. My whole staff is Leadership Buffalo grads, so that helps. We all drink the Kool-Aid. One of the things that means a lot to me is I graduated from Leadership Buffalo in 2010. I was working at the University of Buffalo. I worked there for over 10 years. I ran their Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership for 7, and then I was an assistant vice president for the last 3.5 years. So I was fortunate enough to have them put me through Leadership Buffalo, and I was like, wow, this is good, but it's missing something. It's missing, it was kind of like when you were done, you just walked away. You were like, well, now what do we do? And so at 55, parents have been dead for over 20 years, divorced my husband 22 years ago, so basically no one is paying my bills but me. I'm very happily single. 55, no pension, I was never a union employee, walked away from UB, really great benefits, great salary, to take on a nonprofit. So isn't that a smart idea? But I haven't looked back. I love this job. I've been there 6 years, so now I'm 61 if you want to add in a month from today. We've doubled the budget since I've been there, and we've tripled our membership. So how do we do that? Is by really talking to our members and talking to the folks. Now I know that's a little easier for us because we don't have 80,000 people that attend a game and such a huge subscriber base. But we really do listen. And one of the things, again, as a graduate, I was very charged with, we have to do something. We have to have that, well, now what do we do? Because we learned so much throughout the years. Todd and Matt can both attest to. You learn so much that you're like, wow, I have to do something. But there was nothing. And so we really started to work on that. And some of the things, and we came up with a lot of different ideas. The challenge that we have, which you probably have the same challenge, is that we have people from everywhere. Anybody could be our customer. We have people from nonprofits, both large and small. We have people from education, higher education, and public schools and private schools. We have folks from large companies. We have folks from small businesses and entrepreneurs. We have civic public organizations from City Hall, from the county, from the Coast Guard to the NFTA. So we have people from all walks of life, and they think very differently. We also have people that are 23 to 75, 80 years old, which is our audience. So they all want something different. So at first when you look at that, you think, well, we can't be everything to everybody, so we'll just do a few things and they're gonna have to like it or not. Well, that doesn't work. So what we did is we have some of those folks that maybe they're a banker, maybe they're in insurance industry, and they really want that network. They want that business network environment. Well, maybe someone who is in a nonprofit doesn't care about that. We also have some people that just purely want social time because maybe they're not married yet, or maybe they are married and have kids and they don't get out much, so they want that pure social time. We have people that want family events because they do have a family and they are very busy, maybe Monday through Friday, so they don't want to go out at night and miss family time. And we also have people that want continuing leadership education. And we also have people that are interested in community service. So if you can imagine, again, with the whole 6 people, how do we create that environment? And we are also about $1 million nonprofit, so how are we able to do that on a shoestring budget? So we do it all. We actually have created opportunities that will meet people at all those levels. And some of them are free to our audience, Some of them, we have a lot of volunteers working with us, and some of them, we really hit the sponsorships hard. So we'll sponsor everything. So I told somebody I would get a tattoo of somebody, Leadership Buffalo tattoo, but they'd have to give me a really lot of money, like $100,000 for the next 10 years or something like that. But so one of the things that we do is we have some of the events and program offerings that we have. We have a huge open house every year, which is next Thursday night, and I have packets of information here if any of you are interested. It's for prospects and it's free to you. There is a cost to us, except we have 2 sponsors. So we have very kind sponsors of Severino companies in Bonadeo who are graduates. So they give us enough money in that sponsorship to pay for that event. So we're able to allow people that are interested in Leadership Buffalo, along with our members, who are paid members, to come for free. It's a huge networking event. There's usually 250 to 300 people there. We don't do a ton of speeches. We just do it. We identify our alumni by name tags. And so we utilize our alumni to talk it up to our members to recruit them for our coming year's class. So while we host the event, we utilize our folks to actually really spread the word about what we do. I could sit here and talk about LB all day. Again, I am a graduate, but these 2 went through the program, and they don't have anything to gain by telling you how great we are, right? How great we are. So we also do something called Leadership Buffalo Revisited. And what this is we were hearing from people that, they graduated, like I said, we're 30 years old, so they graduated 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and they haven't seen all these awesome things that are going on in Buffalo. So we created this program, and we developed it with our class chairs, which I'll tell you about in a second, and some surveys and volunteers, and asking our audience what they wanted. We didn't just decide this on our own. And Leadership Buffalo Revisited is 4 times a year, and it's half days, and it's like a mini version of our Leadership Buffalo Day, except we focus on all the positive, super things that are going on in Buffalo versus like, oh my God, the schools are such a mess, what are we gonna do about them, and different things like that. So we have been on hard hat tours of Children's Hospital, UB New Medical School, Curtis Hotel. We have been in more construction sites with hard hats that you can count. We have met with so many different people and seen all the things that are happening in Buffalo before they're happening. Next month, we're taking the Buffalo History River tours and taking everybody learning about the history of the waterway and what's going on and seeing different things like that. There is a cost to that, but the first year we did it, we charged too much money and we didn't get as much of an audience that we wanted. So we redeveloped it and we had some sponsors for that, and we're able to cut the price in half. So we are able to get about 25 people to each one of those sessions, which is really that's all we want. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's all we want. And it's really re-engaging them. So that's more networking, social time type of thing. We have something new we started last year, and this is called 12 at 12. I'm going to back up for a second. We actually have paid membership. So we have over 3,000 graduates of our programs, and that includes 500 that are youth, so we don't really ask them to pay membership dues. So out of 2,500 of our adult graduates, we have 700 paid members, which is a huge percentage. It's $150 a year, and people get a lot for that. So for example, they get a different price for that Leadership Buffalo Revisited. They get to come to the open house for free. One of the biggest things that has helped drive that number up is we do something called 12 at 12. Again, we started this last year. And 12 at 12 is where 8 to 9 times a year, once a month, we invite a key leader to come and speak to the group. And these are people like Mayor Brown, County Executive pulling cars, which you just can't call up and say, hey, you want to have lunch with me? And we invite them to have lunch. The first 12 people that sign up at 12 o'clock get to come. So we have to be a paid member, so you can't do this if you don't pay your dues. And you come, the 1 week before, we let you know who the leader, who the person is. The first 12 people to sign up, and you have to do it online, get to come. We fill them up in about 7 minutes, and Michael Murphy was our speaker last month, and he's just fabulous. We had Alan Green from UB Athletics. We've had Yanni Siren from the Art Gallery. We've had so many wonderful people. So, and then we get a waiting list as well of about 15 people. So that has really driven people because they don't know who it is, so they can't plan. And they're only allowed to do 2 at a time. Something else we do is United Way has their day of caring. So many of our organizations and companies are smaller, that they don't have a big company presence like M&T Bank, or Key Bank takes a big team of people out. So we created a day of caring for our folks to be able to go out and work in the community. So there's that community service piece of it as well. And we organize that for them. We also have something called the LB Project, which started as our 25th anniversary project, and it was so successful, we're continuing to do that every year. And what we do is we have alumni from all different years. We usually have about 1923 out of the 30 years that come. Great cross alumni event that we do. We just have a nice lunch and then we go out en masse and we go do some huge service project in the community. Last year we cleaned up Perry projects, we did painting, we were gardening, we were doing all sorts of stuff for them over there. I'd hate to see what happens if it still looks that way because we haven't been back in the year. And then this past year we cleaned up Wilkinson Point so we could get them ready for their summer, spring season. And next year we'll be working with Tiff Nature Reserve to help them as well. So we do a lot of that too. So that again is the community service piece and also networking because you can meet a lot of different folks. And we end that with the happy hour, as we end a lot of things with a happy hour. We have a huge, so fundraising, we have 3 opportunities that are fundraisers. One is our Values Award Luncheon. Our Values Award Luncheon is in May every year. We honor 5 people from the community that best exemplify our values of service, diversity, inclusion, and openness to change. We have 600 to 700 people at that luncheon, and we get them out of there in an hour and a half. It's pretty cool. So that brings in a lot of money for us for sponsorships, and the proceeds for all of that goes to our youth program, and it also goes to our scholarship fund. Because now that you're all nonprofits, I should let you know that we do have scholarships available for you to participate in our programs. It's never a full scholarship, but we do have a scholarship because we understand that your donor dollars and your grant funding and everything else you get can't be spent on something like this. So we do have that available. Golf, we have a golf outing. We're in our 2nd annual, so I think I have information about that in the packets. Anybody's welcome to join us. We did our first year, and we had a great success. We had a lot of fun, so there's the social network piece, and everybody had a great time. And then we did our first annual bowling event this year, and the people that own Transit Lanes are graduates, and one of my best friends, so we had an absolute blast, and people brought their families. So spend a day, it's day after Super Bowl, so always make sure it's after football season. Not that we're in the Super Bowl, but people still want to watch. Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. Same team here, Althea. Same team.
I like the coach though. He looks like Opie from, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ron Howard. But it was such a fun event because people could bring their families, so it was open to anybody. So again, that was that family event, networking, social. At the same time, it was raising money for us because we really need to support our scholarship fund because we want to be able to have all of you have the same opportunity and have a seat at the table than the large banks and corporations do as well. Some of the other offerings that we do is we provide a printed directory of all of our members to our paid members. It's a beautiful spiral directory. We get that sponsored, so even though there's a cost to us, we don't have to pay for it because somebody sponsors that for us. So we're able to provide that to you and give that as an alumni offering through the support of our sponsors. We have a variety of levels of membership, so if you're out of town, you don't live in Buffalo anymore, you can pay only $50. If you're retired, you can pay only $50. If you're a veteran, you only pay half price of $75. So we have a lot of different offerings that we do with that. We also help people secure a board service seat. Todd and I we're the advisory board, help create something called Charity Strong, which we can talk about later. But we help people match them with board service, people that are interested, or if you are the nonprofit and you're seeking board members, we can certainly help you with that. We engage people into the community and get them to understand what that means. So we help with that. We also provide opportunities for our adult programs to mentor in our youth programs. So we have quite a few people that support that, about 25 per year that support our youth program and help us with them and really work with the high school students. And then we also have several committees that we engage our alumni in as well. So we have our board service too. We have 19 board members. They're all Leadership Buffalo grads. But we have quite a few other committees, our golf committee, bowling committee, values committee, et cetera, that we engage people in. Just trying to find those opportunities to keep them coming back into our Leadership Buffalo family and the fold, and not just saying, well, you graduated, see you later, and we don't have anything to talk to you about again. We don't want to see that happen because everything that they learned is so important, and we really want to keep that energy up and really keep growing that mass of open-minded, community-minded people in Buffalo. So, that's it. And now we'll take questions later?
Yeah, we'll take them later.
Later, questions, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Althea. One of the reasons that I was interested in having Althea come and speak to us is something that she was talking about, that, you know, in a program where you go through it and there's an end to the program, you know, Althea's challenge was really how do we continue to engage with people who are done with the program. And, you know, I've been a paid member ever since my service there for some of those benefits. So it really is something to think about how you can, for an organization that maybe inducts someone into a Hall of Fame, how do we continue to engage post-induction? Anyway, our next speaker, oh, and before I do that, actually, because Althea mentioned Charity Strong, I'll just do a quick hit on that. Charity Strong is charitystrong.org, I believe, and it's two things. It's Directors U, where your current members of your board can go, and yourself as a staff member too, to be knowledgeable about this, can go and learn more about the basics of board governance. And then there's a few hundred, I think, documents at this point. Half of them are free, and they cover all different aspects of board service. That basic one, though, which is about a 45-minute video, which can be taken all at once or in pieces, is a requirement for boards that want to engage in the second piece, which is a board matching service. And so companies bring their folks in who they want to engage in board service, and those prospective board members take that good principles of good governance as well. So they kind of have the right mindset going into service. Your board takes it, so you guys have the right mindset going in. And then there's a matchmaking where you can kind of search for new board members, they can search for you. And we've started to see the effect of that. There's a few organizations, locally, a few cultural organizations who have found new board members from that. So definitely something to check into, whether you're interested in new board members or not. It's a really good resource for existing boards as well. So anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. Our next speaker is the Director of Account Services for the Buffalo Bills, Matt Patrone.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I can't stress enough what a great program that Leadership Buffalo is. I just graduated last year through it, so definitely something for you or your staff members. I can't give it a higher recommendation. They do a great job, so it's definitely worthwhile for everybody. Very eye-opening. You learn a lot about the city and the area we live in, and I've grown up here, and it was a lot of things I didn't know about. So definitely something worthwhile. I had a couple handouts there that everybody I think has. There's a one-sheeter that's going to kind of be some of the things I'm covering. And then I gave you a renewal, a club and a season ticket member guide. So those are things that kind of give you a highlight and overview of our benefits and some of the other things we offer to our members and people who commit to us for a full season. So one thing you'll notice is we do have a distinction between a non-club or a premium member, and we want to create that distinction to kind of, show the value of somebody who is, either spending more with us or committing to us longer term, whether it's, 1 year or multi-year contracts on our club or premium end. So take a look at those things. I'll be around afterwards if you guys have any questions on some of those items. So, one thing for us is, I know we have, we're the NFL, we have that big budget, and, you guys, some of you are probably in a very different situation. So I'm going to focus on some things that we are able to do that I think, go across the aisle and are things that you guys can put into place. These are things that we did to kind of enforce year-round engagement so that people don't lose interest. A lot of times people, it's the football season, and one question we get asked all the time is, oh, football season's over, so what do they just give you off? You have nothing else to do now, right? And the league itself has kind of gone this direction of, it's a year-round business now. What can we do to keep our fans engaged year-round? And we really jump onto that as well, along with the league and some of our programming that we have. So, the first thing, and we came out of the lockout in 2010, and I've been with the Bills full-time since 2007. So this transition has really been about 10 years since I've been there to really get a lot of these programs into place. And coming out of that lockout, we took a big hit. We lost a good portion of our season ticket members, and rightfully so to them. What were they paying for at that point? They didn't know if there was going to be a season. They felt maybe a little bit betrayed by some of the things going on. So, we certainly had to find different ways, and we didn't want to be the big bad Bills who, don't, we only call you when money's due, or, we're not engaging with the fans. They have nobody that they can reach out to. So we wanted to kind of break that perception. How do we do that? So really one of the things we focused on right away was relationship building. We know people have so many different options now, right? I mean, you're battling, everything else that's going on in the city and different events. How do we, how can we separate ourselves? So it really, we said, number one is how can we build those relationships? So we really dedicated our staff to, hey, you're a personal account rep now. These accounts are assigned to you. It's your job to build this relationship, find ways to, have proactive touch points and engage these customers throughout the year. And that's something that's been really big for us. When we have an event, and I have some of my staff here, and when I meet a season ticket member, my first question to them is always, oh, who's your account rep? I want to have that person be able to know right away who that is. That's the type of relationship we want to create at the end of the day. And now, like I said, some of you may not have that staff at hand. So you may have to segment that a little bit and say, okay, I'm only going to focus on our top 100 to offer maybe that personal service because I know, they're really driving the bulk of our revenue or the bulk of what we're trying to accomplish. And these are the people we want to renew year after year. So you may have to break it down into silos like that if you don't have the staff to go after every single person you want to. And that was really something that translated well. Todd can speak to it a little bit. He's a season ticket member. He's one of our club season ticket members. So, when we have some specific club events, when I see my staff engaging, I don't want them to be able to make it to one end of the room to the other. That should be a challenge for them. I want them to continually getting stopped for customers to introduce themselves and for customers to stop them just to chat and catch up with them. And that takes a while to build. It didn't happen, right away. It was a total transition to more personal communications, including photos of our reps and the emails that went out, setting up our website to where here's our account service team, giving a little bio of our account service reps. This is who their favorite player is. This is what they like to do. This is how long they've been here. So they have more of a background on that person and kind of feel that connection instantly. And we know some people just, people are, there's so many different customers now as far as, how do some people want to engage with us? We know for like that millennial group, their first avenue is going to be, okay, give me the tools where I can try and figure it out on my own or I can do it right away. And if I can't, I better have somebody to call to who's going to be there to pick up the phone. We don't want them to have to call and get that automated message. So by creating this personal rep relationship, they know right away, oh, I can call Danielle or Haley or Zach, who's here with me today, and they know their direct line, they have their personal email. So any communication we do with our season ticket members, we try to make as personal as possible. Dear first name, not dear season ticket member. We try to just do some of those little things to separate ourselves a little bit. So, the next thing I'll touch on here is a touch point plan. So really laying out your calendar and planning, hey, here's going to be our events. How can we keep them engaged throughout the year? And when we talk about touch points, it's more than just phone calls. We're talking about those personal emails. We're talking about, really being proactive and setting up visits at events, whether that's on game day or pre-game or post-game. How can we get an event and you're proactively scheduling visits? We see, okay, this person is coming. I know they're coming. They've RSVP'd. Let me call them in advance and say, hey, I'm going to be here during the event. Stop over. I'd love to buy you a drink. I'd love to, offer you a small gift. What are just some little things you can do to get that in-person visit? And I think that does make a difference and translates well with our customers. One thing we started doing was note cards, handwritten note cards. Doesn't cost really a lot, easy something to execute. And it really took off last year. People started posting them on LinkedIn. They started posting them on social media. Oh, look at this. My account rep took the time to write me a handwritten note just saying thank you for renewing, thank you for being a customer. So I think those are all things that are very easy to accomplish. And then, having a goal in mind. How many times do we want to have a touch point with this customer? So identifying the customer as, this is a club premium person. I want our club reps to at least have 3 engagements throughout the year or some type of certain touch points throughout the year. And making sure we establish that to them so they know what the goal is and we give them the tools to achieve that. And then, tracking those touch points. So then you can look back throughout the year. What was effective? What wasn't effective? Were we able to accomplish what we had in place? Can we push the envelope a little more? Can we raise the bar the following year? And then, really just educating the customers through these touch points. That's key. What are we offering? A lot of times it's almost to the point where people buy tickets and then it's like, okay, I'll forget it. They don't realize maybe some of the benefits we have, some of the things they're actually eligible for. So how can we get them to realize, hey, there is value in being a season ticket member, and these are the benefits that you have. So working your touch points around that so that message gets delivered and conveyed to them that this is beneficial to you. There is more to this than just saying, hey, I'm a season ticket member and I bought tickets for the entire season. And then, one thing I think that we really have done a good job on is new account transition. How do you onboard those new people who have committed to you, or how do you upsell some of those people who maybe have a couple, they bought a couple games and you've identified them, all right, how can I get them to the next level to become that full season ticket member? So, once a customer purchases, what do you do next? Once somebody buys a new season package with you, what's your next step at that point? For us, it's okay, hey, we're going to send an email introducing their account rep right away. This is who I am. This is how you can contact me directly. So that transition from sales to service seems seamless. And they know right away I have an advocate at the bill, somebody there that I have questions on and I can get in touch with. And then we'll assign calls to our reps. Hey, these are all your new accounts. We've already sent the email. Now's the opportunity to actually give them a call and talk to them about, hey, just want to make sure you got this. This is kind of what's coming up next for you throughout this cycle of being a season ticket member. And that just eases the transition for the customer, helps establish that relationship, and just, we can buy stock in them a little bit early right away as they bought new. So that really helps with our transition. We'll send a welcome package to every customer too, because one of the things, again, goes to education. We don't want to hear on game day, I didn't know I couldn't bring this size bag in. I didn't know that I had to go through the security process. I didn't know that I couldn't bring in this food or beverage. So that welcome package right before the event, right before the season, we know you're coming, you have tickets, here's my information, but also here's everything you need to be aware of with this event, because some of those will change from event to event. So just conveying that and educating people on that. One of the big things we've done is, really focusing on listening to members. And I think a lot of people talk about this often, surveys, we do surveys, listening to the social media chatter. But how are you following up on that survey? Are you just getting it and then ignoring it? Are you getting it and actually doing proactive follow-up? Are you using that data to analyze it a little bit? And it can be painstaking. We're sending a survey out after each game to try and get feedback from people. And you're talking about thousands upon thousands of responses, and we're surveying a multitude of our customers, so not just club, not just season ticket members, but also just individual game members, because if they're having a bad experience, trying to get them to transition or upsell to something else is going to be difficult. So surveying them, and then what are you doing with that data once you have it? So for us, it's really kind of going through that, and again, it takes time, it's painstaking, but then identifying, okay, this is one we need to follow up with. This requires a call. This requires a visit on game day. And then after that follow-up, what are you doing even after that? The follow-up, I like to call it. Okay, we've rectified that situation, but then are you following up after the next event to say, hey, I know we fixed it for you, but I just want to check back again and see how was it for this event now. We don't want you to have to keep experiencing that same issue. So that they know, again, they have that advocate, they have that personal relationship there. Complaining customers are actually our friends. It helps us out. It's extremely beneficial. Something that you'll find is that the complaining customers, if they sent you just a scathing review in a survey, that's actually probably your most loyal, most passionate, and most likely to renew, most likely to come back. They took the time, and they may be just, killing you in there and saying, you don't do this right, you don't do this right, you don't do this right. But at the end of the day, that's the person who cares enough to do that. So you learn a lot from that, and using that feedback is very, very helpful. So, really using some type of, we use like a customer relationship management tool, making sure you have something in place so that you can keep all this feedback and really look back at it to help your process and your plan as you go along. And then one thing we really do is reasons for not renewing. We know product on the field is going to be a big driver. So how can we prevent some of the number fluctuation? What are the things in our control that we can control to just control that or stop the bleeding in some cases, which is really helped us out a lot, is looking at our reasons for not renewing and studying those and seeing, okay, hey, this is a pinch point. This is something that's coming up often. What can we do to correct this? How can we, fix this for the customer so it's something a little bit easier? And then just knowing how to counter objections, So, all the time we're all going to hear, my budget, I don't have time for this. How do you counter objections or have your staff or yourself prepared to come with some open-ended questions or understand the customer and what they're looking for a little bit more instead of just, oh, okay, sounds good, let me move on to the next one. Because that pool of customers it's not never ending. We all need the renewal, Renewals are cheaper. Renewals, customers that keep coming back are easier, You spend more trying to get a new customer than keeping one that you already have. So how do we continue to do that? Utilizing some of those tools are very helpful. We do offer, different benefits. I touched on it a little bit earlier with our different benefits packages based on if you're a season ticket member or not, if you're a club season ticket member or not. So, again, this goes back to that personal relationship, that feedback, that surveying, that CRM. How can we craft that benefits package to what people are telling us they want, what they actually really want from the team or from that relationship with us. So, we do a lot of events, we do a lot of experiences. We hear from our season ticket members, they want that experience maybe more than that hard good or that hard gift. We do some of those things, but a lot of the experiences we offer are really at no cost or low cost to us. Some of the ones we do, a pregame on-field visit. Hey, you're a club seat member, you've committed to us for 3 years. Guess what? Before the game, you get to come down on the sidelines and be down there while the players are warming up. I'm sure there's probably some opportunities for you in your sectors to offer something similar to that. So that's the premium level of it. The non-premium level of it, or a club seat member who maybe didn't offer or didn't sign up for a 3 multi-year term, they get an on-field visit, but it's a post-game on-field visit. So there's that distinction. There's no players down there, the field's empty, but still a good experience. They still get to go down there post-game, take some pictures with their family. So there's a distinction because you don't have that interaction with the players and stuff right there, but you're still getting to come down, we're offering you something. We do stadium tours, behind-the-scenes stadium tours. Costs us nothing. Send out an invite, get some RSVPs, and bring people out for a behind-the-scenes tour. Take them into the locker room, take them down onto the field, take them into our cafeteria, take them into some of the team meeting rooms. And that's something that's been extremely popular that we offer, and it really doesn't cost us anything at all just to have somebody there to give that guided tour along the way. We obviously have our training camp every year, and that's just a free ticket for customers for our season ticket members anyways, to come out and get a chance to see the team. We do little things, club-only entrances. Do you have premium customers where you can say, hey, here's a fast pass, you get in early, you can come in early, you can go in through this entrance only. Premium parking, this lot is designated just for club seat members. We offer long-term payment plans for season ticket members or club seat members because we know this day and age people want to pay when they want to pay. They don't want to get hit with that big bill right away. So how can we spread that out for them? How can we make it more manageable and more reasonable for them? We do open practices. So we want to give our season ticket members the first look at the team. So hey, here's an open practice. We just hired a new coach. Come out. See the team before everybody else gets a chance to. We want to thank you for your support. Come here and see this now. We do fantasy football leagues. Again, it doesn't really cost us anything. It's just if you and your friends do a fantasy football league, we just set it up, draft players. Here's a fantasy football league, creates a little competition. We offer a Play 60 event, which is, again, really doesn't cost us anything. We charge them $5, which we're donating that money to the Buffalo Bills Foundation, but a nice family event. Come out, do some drills on the field with your kids. Some interaction with the players. Some of our players come out and do it. And again, it doesn't really cost us anything, but gives them an opportunity to come down there, bring their kids, and have a nice time. We do seat relocation process. Something as simple as that is really a big benefit. And I stress to our staff, this is a nice way to get our people in the prime locations, the prime seats, the seats that they want. And then that also makes it tougher for them not to come back. If I know I got this great seat. So run that seat relocation process every year and get them into the prime inventory and show them, hey, I'm not going to jump you in line. You've been with us for X amount of years. You're going to get first priority of any seats that come open instead of just throwing them out to everybody else. So we've done a movie night in the past, and it's something we're talking about bringing back. And I know Shays does, I believe, something similar to this where you bring people out. again, doesn't really cost much, open the doors, they can watch a movie on the big screen from the field. Just a different perspective, but a nice family event again that is kid-friendly. So, you know, showing the families that we care and that we want them to be involved as well. One of the things that we've done is really identifying those high-risk accounts, and this goes back to the onboarding and transitioning. We know for us, particularly, the grouping that's 1 to 3 year seniorities is hard for us to renew. If they're going to drop off, it's going to be in that 1 to 3 year seniority year. So how do we ensure that we don't have that churn? How do we ensure that we don't lose those people, or at least, you know, again, stop the bleeding with that group? So, you know, the thing is getting in front of those accounts early, making sure our reps know, hey, here's a list of all of your new customers. You should plan some type of visit with them throughout the year, whether it's at an event, whether it's at a game, or different opportunities throughout the year. And then, you know, accounts that have had bad experiences. We know that's another high-risk customer that may not come back. So, you know, identifying those and making sure we upgrade them into something else for a game, or offer them something on the back end that makes that experience a little bit better for them, or not as shocking as maybe it was, or the bad taste they have left in their mouth from that game. And, you know, again, that comes back to we've established that personal relationship. They know right away I can call Zach or Danielle and say, hey, just want to let you know this happened. And a lot of these we get on game day now. During the event, they have their email. They can email them. My staff's working game day. They can go right over to that area and handle it right on the spot, and then follow up post-event with a note saying, you know, I'm glad we were able to take care of you. Here's another little something else because I want you to be happy with what we've done. So that's something that really has been big for us, is identifying those high-risk triggers. You know, one thing that we do is we track attendance. You know, we see, okay, this account hasn't attended in the last 3 games, or they've only attended, you know, 2 out of 5 games. Probably worth triggering a call to our staff to say, hey, you need to get in touch with this person, because we would just want to make sure, is there something we missed? Because some people won't tell you what went wrong, you know, so is there something we missed? Is your experience is okay? Are you happy with the service? So just reaching out to those people who aren't attending. So, and then one big thing for us has been our employee training and experiences, educating our staff. We want to arm them with the knowledge so that then they can go out and do that. How are you treating your staff compared to your customers? Should that be any different? I don't think it should. You should be treating your staff the way that you want them to treat your customers. That's going to ensure that they're going out and doing the same thing. So that's got to be consistent. So, you know, really making sure they're armed with information. They're involved in the process from the beginning. You're getting their feedback. You know, I'm definitely not the smartest person in the room, but I know they're on the front line and they're hearing it and dealing with it daily on a day-to-day basis. So I need to make sure I'm taking that information and formulating it into our plan and figuring out how can we make these things better. And then just creating opportunities for touch points. So we know our fans want experiences. Okay, what can we do throughout the year that is creating some type of experience for fans to come out, and that creates a positive touch point for our staff. So again, they're not just calling you when they need money. They're not just calling you because you've had an issue. They're also there in the good times, the happy times. And that makes it harder, you know, for people not to renew. It's tougher if I got this great relationship. You know, you don't want to let, you know, for Todd, you don't want to let Jess down. Man, she's been so great to me. I kind of don't want to call her and tell her I'm not coming back. Like, that's hard. That's hard to do. So it makes it a little bit tougher, or it makes them think about it more often. And it's, you know, all of these things have been beneficial for us, and we've certainly seen the results of this. This isn't just, hey, we haven't seen anything from these things or putting these things in place. You know, we get feedback from the league. So our club seat service jumped all the way up to #1 in the league, and it's been there for the last 5 years. And a lot of that is due to the customers feeling that sense valued. And a lot of the feedback we see on that survey is, hey, they'll call the rep by name. I know Sean or Jess. Anytime I need anything, I can call them. Or even if I had a bad experience, it was rectified right away, and Sean or Jess were there to help me out and take care of me. You know, for our non-club group, which is a lot bigger of a group, that's, you know, our 40,000 plus season ticket members. So our reps are a little bit more challenged with the number of accounts they have to handle and fix. We've ranked in the top 5 in the league in service for that. So the results are there. We've seen the fluctuation of our renewal numbers. really just kind of stay at a point that we want to. We have goals in mind, and we don't want them to drop below a certain point. And the season ticket number is one that I point to all the time. You know, no secret here, we haven't made the playoffs, and thank you, Althea, for pointing that out. We haven't made the playoffs in a while, but our season ticket number, and we know the primary driver a lot of times is, you know, play on the field. So we like to think that we've affected some of this change, but our season ticket number has maintained over 50,000, you know, throughout this process and throughout this time. So there are certain things that we know can affect some change. And I think all of us can agree, you know, even for us, like a 1 to 3% change is still big. That's big. You could be talking a couple hundred, a couple thousand, depending on what your base is. So yeah, that's a big thing. So if we can close that gap and narrow that, so we don't lose that 1% or that 2%, it makes a difference for us at the end of the day. So, any questions?
Let me get up and thank you. So I mentioned one of the reasons I thought Althea would be a good speaker, and with the Bills organization, for me it was getting one of those emails from my account services rep from Jess, and it was kind of the realization that, you know, a lot of times when we get a communication from someone, it's from the figurehead, right? I mean, so it would be the equivalent of, you know, the coach sending me an email, or Terry and Kim Pagula sending me an email. Well, we all know they didn't really send me an email, right? And so, well, Althea does, yes. But I mean, what was kind of something about that was, it was a frontline staff member, and they were saying that this is the person that's valuable for you to get an email from. And that kind of clicking in my head, that it was more meaningful because it was a real person. I was going to be able to call that person on the phone and speak to that person, where, you know, despite trying, I still don't have Terry and Kim Pagula's phone number. So that was kind of the aha moment there. Personally, a couple of things that I heard, and even a couple of things I didn't hear, but are good examples of translation into what might work for us. And then I'm going to open it for all of your questions and your thoughts on that kind of subject. So I'll get it going a little bit. One thing Althea mentioned was the member directory. And a couple of years ago, they actually tried to turn that into an online-only directory, as most things have gone, right? I mean, get rid of the print and go online. And the feedback that LB got was, no, we want this in our hand. And then they were responsive to that and relaunched the print feedback. That was just listening. That was just really kind of understanding that this directory had value, but thinking, no matter what form we deliver it in, it's the directory that has value, but learning that there was actually something specific about it that made it, at least perception-wise, more valuable. That's something all of us obviously can do and can learn from, and think about some of the details of what we're offering, not just, well, we're offering it and it's good and people like it. And one thing, my experience with the Bills, I am a club seat holder, but I share those tickets because there's no way that I'm going to afford those, even with the payment plan. And so I split my tickets, and one year I asked Jess when the Salute to Service game was, because my dad's a veteran and I wanted to take him to that game. So she let me know what that game was. Every year now, she lets me know when that game is, knowing that I don't keep all of my tickets. Even before they've announced it publicly when that game is. As soon as she knows, she reaches out to me and says, this is one of the games you don't want to give away because this is the game you're taking your dad to, right? And so far as to know where he served, right? I mean, it's something I shared. And so again, not something we're necessarily going to be able to do with every one of our patrons, but if it's someone who's at a certain level, or someone who's valued, or someone who's been with you for a long time, starting to make some of those notes. Starting to put it on our calendars when we want to reach out to someone, or something specific that you've gotten in a bit of feedback, and reaching back out and saying, oh, you liked this, well, something like this is coming up. So just a small thing, again, didn't cost anything. It was just a notation on my account, but boy, it made a difference, and it absolutely is one of the games I'm keeping every year. So just a couple of examples from my interaction with these two organizations. But what did you all hear today? First off, any questions if you want to go deeper on something, but also for your organizations. What were you starting to hear that like, oh yeah, we could do something like this? So is the on-field or the behind the scenes the equivalent of someone maybe coming to a rehearsal? or someone getting a backstage tour of a theater, right? What do we hear? Don't be shy, someone kick us off, come on. Or, Susan?
What it's giving me is some validation, because as I'm looking, I have about 6,000 season ticket holders. And as I'm looking, for instance, at the bills, what you do, I'm going, yep, we do that, yep, we do that. That's a good thing to do. But the questions I have for you would not necessarily be what the whole group is interested in, but I am curious, how many of these account representatives do you have?
So we have a total of
Actually,
8.
Matt, come on up,
Yeah.
just so we can get it on here.
Yeah. So we have a total of 8 account service representatives. So 6 are assigned specifically to our non-club group. So they each have probably anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 accounts, and that just fluctuates and depends on the year. And then our club representatives, I have 2 of those that are full-time, and they each, again, it'll vary anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 accounts. So yeah, it's a challenge, it's a workload, and that really comes back to that touch point plan that we kind of try to map out, because I know they're not going to be able to visit every single person, but yes, they do make a phone call, at least 2 phone calls a year to every one of their accounts. The note card doesn't take a lot of time, and they can hit a lot of their accounts with that. So for us, touch points is beyond just that in-person visit, but we've really been pushing the bar on how many in-person visits can we do, and a lot of that has been helped out by some of this programming with experiences and getting events in place. And then we found just even doing a little thing like getting their picture in some of their emails and communications has led to people seeing them at a game and stopping them and like, oh, hey, Danielle, how you doing? I recognize you from my email. How you doing? This is, my name is so-and-so. So, and then that was just another way for people to make sure they're identifiable and kind of create that connection. So, yeah.
I think the whole patron appreciation program
Right.
is what we all have to do.
Yeah.
That's, sales never ends.
Right.
You really have to keep that up. And it's challenging, but I think putting some kind of plan, no matter how simple it might be to start, is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
And notwithstanding the, for many of us, the lack of relationship representatives that we don't have. Right. I'm curious about, hypothetically, if we did, what's the conversation that's held with a subscriber during the non-season? So right now, it's July. Right. If we were to make a call to a subscriber, the season's ended in May. They're renewing. Yep. What would we be talking about? What other than thank you for renewing? Sure. I mean, what's that kind? And people are busy. They don't just want you to call them just for no real substantial reason. So I'm curious about the conversation that one would be having.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple, different avenues we take with some of those things. So a lot of it is, we can position a call with, almost an upsell opportunity, but it's a service call. You're reaching out to them, just seeing how you're doing. Hey, I see you didn't get, training camp tickets yet, or want to make sure your season ticket package was delivered. Did you get it on time? What did you think of our new payment plan? Did you enjoy it? So you can frame that conversation a couple different ways, depending on what you have going on at the time. But yeah, we'll use it for, hey, here's, the new rep call, for example. They bought, but now's your opportunity to get in front of them right away and call them. Hey, they don't have parking. We offer discounted parking for our season ticket members. A, yes, it's a benefit for them, but B, yes, we're getting some revenue on the back end, and we know we have that pass sold for the entire season. So just finding different ways to craft that conversation. On our club end, a lot of it is, hey, let's try and get some of our top, 2% out to lunch. How can we meet with them and do some of those
And
things?
I'll add to that from somebody who doesn't have a big staff doing things. And we have 3,000 people, and we are trying to engage them to attend all the different things that we're doing, because we want to make sure we've got the good audience for fundraising purposes and alumni engagement. What we do is we have listservs. We can send one thing out to everybody. We have something called Network News. It goes to everybody. But there's times when, and we have one of my staff who used to work for the Buffalo Bills. She is program and alumni manager, so she does a lot of communication with the alumni. But sometimes they want to hear from me, and it's really an email from me. It's not a fake email from Terry Pagula, and they want to hear from me. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to a class, and I'll just say, hey, you know what? I know you guys were interested in this. You saw this during your class year, so I'll do that personal touch to classes, which is anywhere from 40 to 60 people, just to get them to know that I'm paying attention to them. So we're much leaner, so we have to, I have to do all of those things. But it's important for us to do that. And I'll never, even though I have an alumni manager, I will never step away from interaction with our alumni. If we had 50 employees, I could do that possibly, but we're in the people business, so we can't even build a strategy to say we'll call them on this time. We have to be very fluid in everything we do because I don't want to say reactive because we are a very proactive organization, but we really have to keep our eyes open all the time and see when we notice somebody's not happy. So we do surveys as well. We'll get somebody who answers a survey. We try to get them to give us their name, but we can sometimes figure it out. And I'll reach out to them and have coffee or lunch or something and try to understand what the challenge is and really smooth that relationship over. And that takes me. That has to be me that does that. So it's really, I think from our perspective of not having a big team doing it, but we still do it in a different way.
And I think knowing how does your customer want to be contacted. We know we have segments of groups that, yes, I want a phone call. We have another group that, hey, email is my main form of communication. So yeah, we can, knock off a big chunk that way. Now we have the people that prefer text. Again, a little bit easier of a method, but at least we're listening to how they want to be contacted, and that's what we're gearing that towards, doing some of those things.
And
so knowing that.
To that perspective as well, because we do a lot of emails, but we also, as I mentioned earlier, we have anywhere from 15 years old of our youth program to 80-year-old alumni. So we can't, again, the younger ones go and do the online directory, but the other people really want to have that nice directory. But at the same time, we just embarked upon SMS technology where we send out alerts and we'll send out text reminders that people have to opt in. I'm sure you get them from a lot of different people. And say, don't forget to register for, don't forget, graduation's coming up, don't forget to check your survey that you're supposed to answer. So we do use a lot of that, and as our generations start to get up, we'll be able to use more and more of that. So we have to go from here to here. We have to be able to provide a lot of different avenues of communication.
And one last thought on that.
And cheaply.
With being at ASI, Lord knows we are on every email list known to man, right? So we get lots of communications from all of you. And one thing that I've noticed that some folks do in an off season is really keep talking to you about the season. Even if I already bought in, or if I haven't bought in yet, well, here we kind of have our big splash. Here are the 5 plays we're doing next season. And you talk to us about it once, and it's like a paragraph on each one or whatever. Go a little deeper. Like, take some time to say, this is what the plays are, especially the ones that aren't as well known. It's really an opportunity to show some video, or, sometimes even with local casts, it's, well, we've now cast this play.
Yeah.
Here's who's in it. Here's where you may have seen them before. Like, here's a great scene of them last season in this other thing, right? I mean, it's like, especially for the people who are more engaged, not the single ticket buyer once every 5 years. But we see some of that, like, okay, we know you were with us last year. You may have really enjoyed this person acting in our show last year. We've just cast them next season in something, right? Great thing. So it's that, if I'm interested enough that I want to come, I might want to know more.
I have a question about the bills box. Is that like a gift certificate essentially?
Yeah, it's essentially
a
a rebate.
load like cash onto it that they can only use within the stadium?
Yeah, so it's a closed loop system, so it's can be used at the stadium, on concessions in the stadium, the Bill store. We do open it up at training camp because we have a store location there. And really that's a percentage back of your spend with us. So depending on, are you a club seat member, non-club seat member, agreed to a multi-year contract or a 1-year contract for our clubs, that determines your percentage rebate back each year.
Can't see everyone over there.
Any more questions?
Any other questions or thoughts?
Or big challenges you're trying to overcome?
Comment, I think the audience issue and the people that you're speaking to is really important because West Side Rowing Club, the rowers are teenagers, but the people that fit the bill are the parents. And I'm not that involved in that sense of the club, but it would seem that you also have to realize who's paying for what people are getting.
From that perspective, that's a good point, because I thought of that when Matt was talking. So our constituents have a lot of different views and visions and the way they think and the way they see things and what they care about and what they, what their political beliefs are. I mean, we are running a spectrum here. They have something with their audience, and everybody loves football and the Buffalo Bills, so they have a little bit more narrow focus of what they're working with, even though they have a huge amount of people that they're dealing with on a regular basis. So we have to be a little bit of everything to everybody. And it's not challenging, but it's constant. So we can't like build a strategy and say, okay, we're gonna send everybody this, because 3/4 of them want that, another group doesn't, some people will get mad. So we have to always be sure it's gotta be a real one-on-one, a lot of times more touchy-feely, personal touch versus big group stuff, so.
And a lot of times we're, for the audience, it's going out on social as well as email, because we know people are engaging with us in different methods too, in different ways. So making sure we have all those bases covered. And then, we're trying to get all the information from our customers on, hey, this is my kid, this is when he has his birthday, how can I then get something out to you for that? I had one season ticket member tell me, you'll have me as a season ticket member for life because I've never seen my kid happier. You could do whatever for me, I'm an adult, I'm well established, I have this, but my kid, you did this for him, and now it made that big of an impact on him that I'll continue to stay a customer with you.
Robert.
What percentage of the stadium is subscription based?
Yeah, so our season ticket member base right now, we seat about 70,000 people for a game. We have season ticket members sold right now, we're right around 53,000. The highest we've been was 60,000 season ticket members. And we always leave a little room. 60 is about the cap point. We probably have a little bit of room to play if we need to. But you still want to have some of those individual game opportunities available for people to kind of move them along the product line. So
I have a question.
One of the things,
Go ahead.
sorry, it's just a follow-up.
Yeah.
I apologize. One of the things that I'm so curious about Bills is the loyalty and the volume of people that you serve. Because it might be a game that you lose, and you lose, and you lose.
Right.
And
I didn't say it this time.
I know.
With fear of the
I'm a
arts, I
fan.
feel like you win, but it's hard to keep that loyalty.
Well, Buffalo
But
fans are
Robert, but that
crazy.
doesn't mean that and I'm a season ticket holder at Chase too, but that doesn't mean that every show is to my liking.
Yeah.
No, precisely.
And quite frankly, some of the shows aren't that great from a technical standpoint, although that's more years ago, right?
Sure.
But yet, there's something about keeping the seat.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
Hamilton in a year and a half, right?
Precisely. But
I know he might
the
be-
question that I have specifically, a surge in season ticket sales because of a show like Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like, do you have fair weather friends who are buying tickets?
Right.
And then,
And then
after
it
the show
falls
happens,
off, right.
We are in this place right now where we're trying to do all of these wonderful things with patrons to build the loyalty and understand the value of being a subscriber to Shade, so that in 2019,
After
we
Hamilton,
are seeing that
post-Hamilton.
decline. So, I'm just curious, that's why we're really in the phase of working towards building that relationship.
And that's, again, goes along with the question I was gonna ask you. So the people that don't have season tickets or club seats, do they have an account rep, or they just?
They do not, so they don't have that personal account rep. They don't get this benefits package that we're talking about for all these things, and rightfully so. We want again to have that distinction. But we face some of the challenges. Obviously, the NFL is the NFL, and it's popular. We know that it's the #1 sport. But for the last 2 years, we've had 3 December games in a row. Nobody wants to come and sit in the cold, or you have a poor schedule. So nobody wants to, come and see crappy away game teams playing there. They don't want to put their money towards that. So, we know there's going to be fluctuation, but how do you minimize the fluctuation? I think that's where some of these other things come into play. And, like I said, we've really identified that 1 to 3 year thing. So, what's going to work for you to get that person? And it's probably a lot of it is knowing who are the people that have made it past that 3-year mark for us, and what's worked for them, what have they liked. Am I offering value to being a longer tenured person, which we do. We have seniority-based benefits too. You've been with us X amount of years, you get something extra or some other extra programming. So, being able to kind of identify those things and just, we know there's going to be some churn there, but how do we continually minimize that each season?
I think maybe a little bit of the correlation might be, a team that loses a star player.
Sure.
Or misses the playoffs,
Right.
or, so that you've had something really exciting, people are And then there's like that come down, right? You have the really great season or two, or a really star performance or whatever, and then it becomes like a regular, not bad, but just a regular
So
one.
I'm gonna dumb this down to a small organization, which would be me. So, when you think about it, we have our Values Award Luncheon, and when we honored Ralph Wilson, as our community impact posthumously, I can never say that word, how do you say that word?
Posthumously.
Thank you. So, it was huge. We had 700 people there. And then it just depends on who we're honoring. When we had somebody from UB we honored, they bought like the whole side of the room. So this year, I was really nervous because, see, then we get people complaining to us like, oh, well, they're just doing their job and they have a lot of money, so that's why you honored them. We don't pick them. We have nominations that come from the community, but people that are not in the know don't know that. So they'll complain. We actually got an anonymous note, which was hysterical with the invitation all marked up with nasty words on it. I don't know who it was. But, they're saying, yeah, sure, they're just doing their job or they have money. And one was our building, our offices are in a Savarino building. So they're like, oh, just because he's your landlord. I'm like, no, you have no idea what this man does for this community, and he's very much under the radar. He's an amazing man, and he gives so much, and Todd knows that. He's his landlord too.
Yep.
But this past May, we honored all nonprofits, and I was really nervous because, first of all, they don't have, like when Sam won, I think he bought 4 tables. When Dennis Black won, he had like 5 tables. So we had all these, we were like so nervous because, as we know, nonprofits don't have money to get more than 1 table, if they could even get that. We had the Philharmonic was one of them, and they got 2 tables. Then we had one Colored Musicians Club that didn't get any tables. So I was so nervous that we were not going to fill that room. And we have been 600-700 people, and this is a huge fundraiser for us, and we did it. So. But every year I get concerned because we have to meet the criteria of making sure we're honoring the right people and doing the right things. We're all about service, inclusion, openness to change and diversity, not just money making. But at the same time, we need to make money. So it's always interesting for us to make sure that we can continue that success year after year. But what we do too is that we take a look at it, and when something isn't working and something is getting, like our LV project, for example, it was kind of not as, it's been going down in numbers every year, and I'm thinking, do we do this again, or we do it every 5 years? Until the TIFF Nature Preserve came to us and said, we really need you, and so we're gonna do it 1 more year. But we're looking at it, like, is it really making sense? Do people really wanna do this anymore? And then we're gonna change our offerings, so.
Yeah, I think that's.
Just close my loop if I
Sure.
can.
Sure.
I think that the whole approach that we're taking, and you can give this feedback, is that the Shays experience is everything but the show. Because we want you to be loyal to our organization and what it feels like to walk into that history and to be part of the organization. So while you might not like the show or the technical elements of the show, what Shays means to you is what's going to keep you with us long term through the ups and downs of the shows and what may come in and what may come out. But building that connection to each individual person about what Shays means to them and to the community.
And I'm just going to add to Robert saying that one of the other challenges we have, unlike sports entities, correct me if I'm wrong, is bricks and mortar is not a problem. Right. So we're a presenting house. So that all that money that people think we have came in the building and left.
Yeah, because they're not in-house production.
So the point to that is this. In addition to hitting that person up for subscriber money, we often hit them multiple times for other stuff.
For donations and fundraisers.
So the challenge is, in terms of sustainability, not knocking on that door too many times. Right? Listen, I've given you, particularly in the economy and particularly where we have people who are also your subscribers and also Sabre subscribers as well. Right? So they've been hit 3 times when they said, now.
So then you want to ask them to buy a brick campaign, that they're not, you don't have to do that,
Right, so it's really complicated process.
Yeah, no, and I think some of the things we've done is to try to make those, like I said, we're not just coming at you for the money. There's other things outside of that, like we talked about. So, and I know, it's probably, you guys have definitely some unique challenges compared to what we're facing. I totally get that.
Although I will say that going to the merchandise store, right, or buying tickets to additional things, right? I mean, there's definitely upsell opportunities. Althea definitely spoke about, okay, I've put my money down to be an alum. I get discounts on things, but I do need to pay to come to multiple things here. And Robert, I think what you said is exactly right. I mean, it's the experience of the place. You know, it's the idea that we value this place, we value the concept, even if some of the individual elements aren't always hitting on all cylinders. And I think that really does go back to.
So if you get sippy cups for the theater during the shows, because you go out there at intermission, you get a glass of wine, you're like, I gotta chug it
You
back.
can't drink at movie theaters in New York State.
Well, you can do it at musical fair.
They're a theater presenting, we're a movie theater designation.
Oh.
Really? Interesting.
In 1926.
All right, we gotta change, write your legislator, change
That's
that
our
law.
next advocacy
We gotta
campaign.
get that law changed. I'm right on top of that.
Yes, that's our next advocacy campaign. We've got the chair of it right here. Awesome.
Yeah, and we are definitely selling, a lot of what we're doing is selling the experience, kind of like what you do, because, you know, we have that dark cloud over our head. We haven't been to the playoffs in X amount of years, and people are fed up and sick of that. So how can we sell that experience similar to what you were talking about? So it's the event within the event, if you will.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So one last question, if anyone has it? This way. All right, excellent. Well, thank you for joining
Just
us.
real quick, I just want to add,
Oh,
I put on the
please,
back
sorry.
table,
Yes.
there's folders with my card and information about Leadership Buffalo. I would love to see all of you at our welcome, our open house next Thursday. Again, it's free. It's at 500 Seneca, which is where your next session of this is.
Yes.
Great historic building. So please try to join us and meet a lot of our alumni. Hopefully Matt will be there as well.
Thanks to Matt and Althea. And thanks to the Buffalo Museum of Science for hosting us. Hope to see you August 7th.